So I'll give you guys a pre-cap on what we just did today. We went to an older home that's in need of renovation that had 3 colonies in it, and I took Dave to help because there's no way I had time to do all 3 of them. 2 of them were in wall cavities. One was in a tough wall cavity. The other one was under a window and then went out into a shed roof area, and that one had collapsed. I believe it was probably when we had the 114-degree weather this year, and they had it attached to the roof, and it got hot and it all fell down in a pile, and I had to take the whole thing out laying on the floor and reaching back into this cavity, and it was a mess. They'd re-glued it together, re-waxed comb pieces, you know, trying to straighten it out. And then none of it was in straight lines because they were in a huge open cavity, so lots of it came out in chunks. It was almost impossible to get all the bees backed out of the cavity because there were places you just couldn't get to, and there were some spots they were hiding that were structurally part of the roof, so I couldn't take that part out to get in behind it. Queen might have got in there and hidden, it's hard telling, but we closed up the holes. So anyway, I just got some clips of it. It's really hard for me to set up and shoot, you know, big chunks of the video, or the big chunks of the cutout. So I just shoot little clips when I can and put them together. Then at the end, I put the bees in the greenhouse so they can rob out their own honey, hopefully, and put it back into some drawn comb that I'll give them. And then we'll see how much we got. If we didn't get a queen, we'll join them to some of the smaller colonies that we've got, and they can help those build up. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Well, I and Dave are going to try to cut out of 3 colonies here. There's one right by the back door, and there's 2 up on this shed dormer. We're going to go in the house and evaluate it. We're going to be able to cut it from inside, I hope. We're going to see. So the bees are coming in and out around this electrical conduit, but we got inside here and took out some comb and can't find where the rest of the nest is. So we were thinking robbing, but as I got in here to start plugging the hole up, they were quite defensive. There's propolis coming out underneath the woodwork up on top, so I believe we need to take this wall apart and get in here. It's hard to tell how everything's set up. There's old walls from old buildings. We can't see in behind this one, so we're gonna have to pull siding off and see. The other spot they're at is at the end of this dormer and under that window up there, so I'm probably gonna go start cutting some holes in the walls up there, see if we can find where they're at. So this old house is due for some renovations. It's actually, I believe, 4 units of apartment. It needs some work, but here's where the window upstairs is and how low to the floor it is. And we've got bees coming in and out up here. So I don't know if they're in this roof or if they're down in this wall, where they go from there. The other ones are right in behind this at about that same level coming in. So we're going to have to start taking some stuff apart and see what we get. Well, here's what Dave found. There is a nest in there, and we'll just see how far it goes. Fairly large one by the looks of it. All right, well, I'll let Dave go at this, and I'll go try to cut through the lath and plaster upstairs. Well, I got this piece of base off, and they didn't take the lath and plaster all the way to the floor, so there's that colony. It's coming in under the window. I've got some comb over here but haven't found any bees yet, so they may be going up from there. They should be coming in about this level, and they may be going up. So we'll go ahead and get some plaster out of the way, see what we got. Well, this one is floor to ceiling. They've got honey at the top and some down here in the middle, and then it goes in this whole stud cavity, which is behind this other wall, which is going to be a pain in the butt. I'm probably going to end up having to cut a swath out of this other side too, so I can access both sides. I haven't cut into these guys yet down here. Hopefully they don't go too far down the wall. Looks like they're going sideways and probably up. So I want to get back to tearing here. Well, we're getting into this one, and it is a major pain. They have got comb going every which direction, and some has gotten hot off the roof and melted and fell down. And then they go every round in circles around each other. So it's been a pain. I've got a little bit of cat brood. Haven't seen any open brood yet, but it's that time of year they should be stopping. So it's just whittle a piece at a time. It goes down in the hole down there, so it's hard to get the bottom broke loose. I'm gonna have to back up and take a whole bunch out over in this direction so I can work into it a little better. So this one's a booger laying on the ground. Well, have a lot of space right here. Well, I believe we've got most of it out. Some of this is just almost impossible down inside of here. The comb fell off the roof and melted down into everything. All the construction debris laying on that roof, and then the bees went in and reworked it. Just made it a nightmare. I've got skip sheeting in here, so the bees are hiding up in it. It's really tough to be able to get them all out. There were so many in the box that I went ahead and shook them into this box. There's a couple frames of brood in there, and a few pieces of comb. Most of this comb came out in chunks, so no idea if we got the queen or not. Dave got this one all cut out. A lot of old empty comb. There's the hole they're coming in down there on the bottom. We get that plugged up and get the bees all vacked out of the windows, and clean this place up and get out of here. Hopefully. This one's been a bit of a booger, but there are 3 colonies here, 3 pretty decent colonies. So I saw one bee with the deformed wing virus in this one, but otherwise they look pretty darn healthy. So luckily we don't have to put this thing back together. You know. All right, I'm gonna get back. Well, that's about it. About got to wrap a few tools to pack out of here. Got those sealed up. A few bees coming back to the windows, but we can't get them all. Be here all night. I'm going to try to get a swarm box on at this place next year, since it's obviously a bee house. They seem to really like it. Now go downstairs. We're going to vacuum up that first one that Dave did again. A lot of them in that cavity, and then I'll get that closed up and sealed up hopefully, and lock the place up and get out of here. Well, we've got it closed back up here with steel wool in the holes, keep them from chewing through it. And the hole up there has steel wool in it, keep them from chewing through. The other one was really a small slit, so we just caulked it from both sides. There's still a lot of bees out and about, but not much we can do about that. So I believe we're gonna get out of here. It's been quite a day, a lot of bees. All right, I'm back home. And my plan is to turn these guys loose in the greenhouse. Try to close it up, because I have a lot of their honey in buckets. They don't have it put away yet, so I'm gonna get the bees in here, and this is one of them that Dave did in the upstairs wall. The bees are in a box, so I'm going to try to get the bees in here and then leave them closed up, let them out probably tomorrow, and then they can come in and take their honey back. If I put them outside, they will have to fight everybody else for their own honey. So if just these two colonies are picking up the honey we took out, then they got a better chance of getting it put away, and I'll get good drawn comb in them. There's some drawn comb in here now, and then some of the comb that they put in, or that you know, we took out of the cutout with some brood and stuff in it. But well, there aren't that many bees in here. Dave said there weren't that many bees in that other colony. A lot of old comb. No idea if we got the queens or not. Dump them in just like a package. Lid on them. Now the other ones, I had so many bees in there that I dumped the box from the vacuum in. All right, I've got the spray yellow jacket trying to get in there too, and my screw gun so I can unhook the mouse guard. And over here in the box is a few that I vacuumed up afterwards. I guess there aren't that many in here. I'm even sure it's hardly worth it. I can probably just leave them sitting at the entrance, and if the queen's in there, they'll find their way into their colony. I've got a couple frames of brood in there, and a little bit of honey that I put in. It came out in such small pieces that I couldn't frame up any really nice honey for them. But there's some, so they had something to eat. But here we'll let them out. Then this tub's got a hole in it there in the end. I'll just set that down here towards it. Maybe pop their lid too, and they can find their way in. They should come out and start fanning. So I won't open up the colony like I'd planned to, because there aren't that many bees in the box. But they'll come out and orient now. They're doing their orientation flight, trying to figure out where they're at. So when they're in the greenhouse, hopefully they'll find their way back to this colony and not fight the greenhouse walls. Usually they do when they're in their colonies in the greenhouse. If they get in the greenhouse when their colony's outside and the sun starts going down, they have a hard time finding their way out. But so here's, you know, buckets of honey that they'll start going through and cleaning up. I've got another barrel of it out there, so we'll let those girls sit in there overnight and get on their frames, and then I'll bring them out some better frames. Oh, I didn't get the lid on very well. There. Well, hopefully we got the queens with them. We didn't spot any queens, but hopefully they got backed up and they're all right. There was no open brood. There was a little cap brood, but no open brood. Tomorrow I'll get a little more feed on them. I'll get some pollen sub on them, see if she's in there, if she'll start laying. So anyhow, that was kind of our our day.